China is vast, covering 7% of the planet's land surface. In this series, I'll explore the country's mountains. I feel on top of the world. And grasslands. I'll cross China's greatest deserts and jungles. China is the only country with elephants in the south and reindeer in the north. I'll go in search of them and many other extraordinary and rare creatures. Join me on my adventures in untamed China. Big skies and rolling steppes. On this adventure, I'm in the far north of China in Inner Mongolia. It was from this part of the world in the 13th century that Genghis Khan led his armies of riders to conquer most of Europe and Asia. These grasslands have always been famous for their horses and horsemen. On my mission, I hope to meet the wild creatures that live here in Inner Mongolia. To do that, I've bought all the traps, nets and other equipment I need. I'll take to my bike to find micro mammals in the grass. I'll pursue flying grass eaters and be on the lookout for Mongolia's deadliest snake, as well as finding out about Genghis Khan's favourite sport. Terrific stuff. I'm excited about meeting all of those, but I'm really determined to see one elegant bird, the demoiselle crane. It would be tempting fate to tell you why I'm so desperate to see it, but if we succeed, I'll explain then. But first off, I'm going to meet an animal that you really wouldn't expect to find in China. To encounter it, I go towards the Russian border. The creature walks with such ease through the forests and swamps of northern China, the local people call it the boat of the forest. Just over here is the animal that's a surprise to find in China. Look, a beautiful reindeer. You'd expect reindeer in Scandinavia. Father Christmas keeps his herd there. You'd expect them in Russia, Canada and America. The same species of deer there is given a different name, caribou. But in China, you wouldn't think they'd be here. Semi-domesticated, as you can see, with the bell around its neck. But there are wild reindeer in China. There's only a couple of hundred of them left. They're only found in Inner Mongolia. This is a big bull, of course. Look at these tremendous antlers. Midsummer now, so these deer are preparing for the rutting season. Even though they're semi-domesticated, they still fight for the females. When reindeer walk, they make a really strange sound, make a click with every stride. The clacking noise is made by their ankle tendons sliding over bones in their feet. So when you're walking with a herd of them like this, it's a cacophony of clicks. They can be heard up to 30 metres away. It's thought the sound helps the herd maintain contact during blizzards. Even when blinded by snow, they can hear each other moving. He looks really handsome with this dark summer coat. The coat will be much lighter in the winter to camouflage him against the snow. These animals are perfectly adapted for extremely cold winters. See this little tail here? If it was much longer, there'd be a danger of frostbite. Reindeer have very special hooves, and they use them for swimming, for paddling through the water, and also in the winter they splay out to support the animal's weight as it's moving across snow. Now I'm going to meet the Ewenki tribe, the guardians of these reindeer. Less than 200 Awenki still herd reindeer in the time-honoured way. They're determined to keep their traditions alive. Passed down from one generation to the next, some of their songs and dances are centuries old. Reindeer are so important to the tribe, they feature in many of these songs. A bell and a bribe keep the free-range reindeer from straying too far. Salt is the bribe. Many mammals travel great distances to find this essential mineral, but these reindeer have come to depend on human handouts. The salt treats keep nursing females close by so the Awenkis can get milk and the young calves can be protected from wolves and bears. Most animals protect themselves from predators without a helping hand from humans. In these northern forests, one animal keeps out of harm's way by blending in.
Some of the creatures in this forest are so well camouflaged. You've got to be right on top of them to see them. Look, there's a bird right in front of me. This is a hazel grouse, a hen bird. She is so confident in her camouflage. She won't leave the nest unless she's really in peril. And of course, I'm no danger to her. She could be sitting on a clutch of up to a dozen eggs.
Good luck. I hope you rear your chicks successfully. It's time to get cracking with my quest for demoiselle cranes. I certainly won't find them here. They're birds of grasslands, not forests. The cranes are usually close to water too, so Dalai Lake is a good place to begin my search. It's close to Russia and the border town of Manzhouli. Manzhouli was established in 1901 as a stop for the Trans-Siberian Railway, which crosses the border about 1.5 kilometers from the station. This statue of China and Russia's national bears symbolises the merging of countries and cultures here. These buildings, the Cyrillic script on the shops, Manzhouli has a real Russian feel about it. It's like nowhere else in China. Soon I'll be at the edge of a giant lake where I hope to lay eyes on demoiselle cranes for the first time in my life. Coming up, I take to my bike to find creatures hidden in the grass and witness a tern feeding spectacular. It's summer in Inner Mongolia on China's border with Russia. On my search for demoiselle cranes, I pass through Manzhouli. Now I'm close to a giant lake that's almost hidden in this sea of grass. The surprise that really seems to just pop out of the grassland is Dalai Lake. It's China's 5th largest. It covers nearly 200,000 square kilometres. That's the equivalent of 500,000 football fields. There are reports of demoiselle cranes breeding here. They usually nest within a few hundred metres of water. So my best bet is to concentrate my search close to the lake and the surrounding wetlands. There's certainly plenty of water birds. Spoonbills are a favourite of mine. They use their spatulate bills to sift out small aquatic creatures from the water. The grey heron uses its dagger-like beak to stab larger prey, frogs or fish. Other aquatic birds have babies in tow. These pochard ducklings are perfecting the art of diving. When they're full grown, they'll be able to reach depths of 4 meters and stay submerged for up to a minute. Pochards are such specialised divers, they rarely venture onto land, as they have great difficulty with walking. The training session doesn't last long. Like all babies, the ducklings need their sleep. Mum has a nap too. Delhi Lake and the wetlands that surround it are home to over 200 species of bird. Many of them only visit in summer to breed.
What a charming sight. A flock of white-winged and whiskered terns. There must be some bits of fish in the bottom of the boat.
These international travellers have flown here to breed from as far as Australia or New Zealand.
They're having a feast here.
Back at their nests, which they build on floating lily or lotus leaves, chicks will be waiting to be fed.
Let's see what was attracting the terns. And no wonder they were hovering above this boat. There's a mass of fish. They look like loach.
So Delhi Lake has delivered terns, spoonbills and pochards. But the bird that inspired my quest has yet to put in an appearance. The terns put on a real spectacular, but so far no sign of any demoiselle cranes, the bird I'm determined to see. Hopefully I can find them a little further to the east. I'm heading to a place known as the Pearl of the Grasslands. The Three Rivers region is a vast area of prairie close to the city of Hala. First, I'm going to take to the skies above the grasslands. The flight will only take me a couple of 100 meters up, so there's the possibility of spotting cranes.
This should be superb, a buzzard's eye view of the grassland.
Demoiselle cranes are 1 metre tall with a wingspan of almost twice that. So if they take off, they'll really stand out.
Floating above them, you can really see the vastness of these grasslands. They're the dominant landscape in China, covering 40% of the country's land area.
These oxbow lakes and marshy areas seem perfect for nesting cranes, but there's none to be seen.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, very beautiful. Very beautiful, very beautiful.
There's so many people and livestock here in the Three Rivers region. It's possible the cranes have been pushed out to more remote areas. Wherever you look, there's domestic animals. Demoiselle cranes might not feel comfortable with humans and livestock for neighbours, but some other smaller wild animals thrive in pastures that have been grazed by horses, although they'll take a little bit of finding.
In these grasslands, an area the size of a football field can have literally hundreds of minuscule mammals. I'm going to try to show you some of them, but before that, I've been invited in here for a traditional drink.
Hello.
Sambanyo.
Hello,
Sambano. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Inside, with its walls of felt and wool, the yurt is airy and comfortable. This is something I've read about. Mongolian tea, horse milk with salt. It's very good. It's much nicer than it sounds. Nowadays these circular tents are just the summer home for the Mongolians. They stay in here to look after their livestock. Can't understand a word. Probably talking about flocks and herds. State of the summer pasture. Who knows? Eat a lot of sheep in Mongolia. But I'm going to stick to Mongolian tea. Really don't like the look of what's in that bucket down there. I'm going to make a move before I get a meaty meal. Telekala. Thank you. Telekala. That was lovely. Thank you. Yeah, that wouldn't be for me. It's a great shame, but with around 500,000 horses in Inner Mongolia, there's no room for the wild ass and gazelles that once roamed here. Although overgrazing by horses can boost the number of some smaller mammals that appreciate short turf. And look, to see them, I'm going to set a trap line. Vesta, bye-bye. The micro-mammals I'm in search of will be in burrows underground right now, but I hope to entice them into my traps when they come out to feed tonight.
Sunflower seed snack. That should lure them in. This looks a good spot. There we go.
With many more scurrying feet than thundering hooves on these undulating pastures, I'll be surprised if none of my traps are sprung. The next day, I'm off just after sunrise. It's a magical time for a cycle ride. I place the traps near distinctive features, a yurt, a bend in the river, or a peculiarly shaped mound. I don't want to misplace any. Animals caught inside need to be checked and released quickly.
This one hasn't been sprung. Another empty one. This trap's been sprung. I've got a bag here so we can have a look at what's inside. Some rodents can transmit diseases to people, so I don't want to be bitten. And I'd have been surprised if we hadn't caught one of these. I said there were hundreds of these in an area the size of a football field, but in plague years there can be up to 10,000 of them. It's a little vole. 3 or 4 kinds found here. Narrow-headed, reed, could be Mongolian. Looking at the colour and the length of the tail, I think this is the splendidly named Maximovich's vole. A single vole can eat 40 grams of vegetation in a day. That's the equivalent weight of 10 teaspoons of sugar. But when you've got a lot of them, that really adds up. And Chinese scientists have calculated every year the voles in the grasslands of China can eat over 200 million tons of fresh vegetation.
That's the equivalent weight of 72,000 jumbo jets or 4 million elephants. So these little guys can certainly eat a lot. Let's send you on your way. Hey! The door on this one is closed. Let's see what's inside. I recognise this little rodent. I've seen them in pet shops at home, in fact all around the world. This is the Chinese hamster. They were first domesticated in 1919. The ancestors of all the animals kept as pets came from northern China. These little rodents live in burrows in the grassland. 4 or 5 live together. They are prolific breeders. They can have their first babies as young as 5 weeks. Then they can have up to 5 litters a year with up to 9 babies in each. Breeding at that rate, you can see why they could be a problem on these grasslands if their numbers weren't kept in check by predators. She's so relaxed, having a good clean. Go on then, off you go. Coming up, I meet Mongolia's most venomous snake and watch the nation's favourite sport. Albo, a spiritual site for Buddhists, is far out in the grasslands of Inner Mongolia. I'm hoping my visit here will bring me inspiration and perhaps some luck in my search for demoiselle cranes. So far, these exquisite birds have proved elusive. I've been searching for over 2 weeks now and have one last chance to catch up with the cranes. I'm heading to Hohhot, the provincial capital of Inner Mongolia. The city is surrounded by vast grasslands. There have been reports of demoiselle cranes there. I'll visit this sea of grass tomorrow. Now I jump on my bike to search for a special snake. My destination is a park on the edge of Hohhot, which is a famous site for serpents. I've no time for a snack. I want to be there before the day warms up. The snakes I'm looking for won't be out and about when it gets too hot. In summer, temperatures here can soar above 40 degrees centigrade. If I do get lucky and find Mongolia's most toxic snake, I'll need my hook to handle it. Temples and pine forests. There's a mix of good snake habitats here. The reptiles will relish these gullies of cracked soil, and there's permanent pools here too, for drinking and hunting frogs. Snake! Hey, not the one I'm looking for. This is a species found all over China. It's called the Chinese tiger snake, or the tiger keelback. You can see why it's called a tiger, because of these brilliant orange and black markings. They're very docile snakes and only bite if seriously provoked, but if it did start chewing on me and could work the teeth at the back of its jaws into my flesh, it could inject some venom. This is a back-fanged species of snake. They use that venom to kill their prey, mainly frogs and fish. They're nearly always found near water like this. They are very good swimmers. The snake species I'm really hoping to find here in the park isn't keen on getting its scales wet. It prefers to hunt lizards and mice on dry land. There! What a little beauty. This is what I've been searching for. It's the Central Asian pit viper. See if we can get him to settle down. I've got to be a little careful here. Asian pit vipers got quite virulent venom, hemotoxic properties. That means it breaks down tissue, would liquefy my muscles if I was bitten by it. It really is not aggressive. You can see why Asian pit vipers are given their name. There's a pit between the eye and the tip of the snout for detecting heat. So these snakes can track small mice, other rodents, in pitch darkness. They can see a heat image of their prey. These Central Asian pit vipers don't get much larger than this. The biggest ones are around 40 centimetres. Now we've had a good look at him, I'll put him back in his retreat. Come on then. There we go. Getting quite hot now, so this little chap will spend most of the day hidden underground where it's cooler. He'll come out at night looking for food. Brilliant. Tomorrow I'll leave Ho Hot City to head out into the grasslands for a unique Mongolian festival and my last attempt to find demoiselle cranes. My travels in Inner Mongolia are nearly at an end. Before I leave, I want to experience a Nadam. This Nadam is near Shilanhot, a few hours' drive from Ho Hot. These midsummer festivals are held wherever there's a large Mongol population. It's a tradition that goes back hundreds of years, with its roots in the training of warriors. The favourite sport of Mongolians is wrestling. A group of competitors here getting ready for this afternoon's bout. The wrestlers wear a colourful two-piece costume. A shudok, which are shorts, and a vest, the zodog. Wrestling is the main event at an Nadam. Hundreds of competitors can take part in the tournament. In this competition, it will be several days before the ultimate champion is decided. Wrestling has a long tradition in Mongolian culture. Genghis Khan used to use the sport to keep his troops in tip-top condition. This is a knockout competition. The number of wrestlers is gradually whittled down. The champion will be the last man standing. A winner does a dance of victory. He's now a lion or Arslan. If he wins again, he'll be a Titan or Evraga. A confrontation can be over in seconds or take much longer. This is a real battle of wills and tactics. The bout's gone on for nearly 15 minutes. It looks like the smaller wrestler has his opponent rattled. Wow, the big man hit the ground first. We have a winner. Now I'm off to see another important part of this summer festival. Horses are cherished in Mongolian culture. There's a traditional saying, a Mongol without a horse is like a bird without wings. After wrestling, horse racing is the favourite sport of Mongolians. Long horse races, which are real marathons, are one of the highlights of the Nadam. You've got a long way to run, boy, haven't you? A horse is a traditional gift for boys on their 3rd birthday. If they show promise, they can be chosen and trained as jockeys from the age of 5. Unlike Western horse races, Mongolian ones are really long. This one is 8.5 kilometres. The longest cross-country races for 7-year-old horses can be over 26 kilometres. A racehorse can gallop for up to 35 kilometres, and they're trained to continue racing if the jockey falls off. Exciting finish! Yes! Gia is the winner. Well done! Brilliant! Did the 8.5 kilometres in about 13 minutes. This is Gia. He's 20 years old, been riding since the age of 5. Excellent win! Well done, Gia. I'll be celebrating too when I at last get to see demoiselle cranes. The beautiful birds are somewhere out there in this sea of grass. I'm back on my bike to track them and other grass-living creatures down. There's not much big game on these grasslands, but there's plenty of little game. I keep seeing them scurrying all around here. Lizards that talk with their tails. Ah, so fast! Oh. Ah. I'm missing these lizards by a hair's breadth. They are so fast. See a couple over there displaying to each other, coiling their tails just like clock springs. Maybe they're distracted and I can catch one of them. At last, a beautiful grassland toad-headed agama. As we've seen in the warmth of the sun, these are incredibly fast little lizards. They need that speed to escape from predators. These would be a perfect morsel for a bird of prey. They also need to be fast to catch their food, ants and other small insects. And they've got a beautiful marking on the side of their body. If I gently move its leg here, you can see there's a splash of pink scales just behind the front legs. That's how you can tell this is a grassland toad-headed agama. You and your friends really led me on a merry chase. Off you go. Still no sign of a demoiselle crane though. It's so frustrating because they're not even rare here. Thousands breed in Inner Mongolia. I'd be happy to see just one of them. Ahead of me now, there's an elegant, long-legged bird, just as lovely as the cranes I seek. What a stunning bird.
Oriental plovers are a real speciality on this Inner Mongolian grassland.
The bright chestnut chest shows this is a male. The females are duller.
They've flown a long way to breed here. They spend the winters in northern Australia.
The long journey is worthwhile. The plovers can provide for their chicks with the glut of juicy insects found on these grasslands in summer. I'm sure the plovers are much better at catching bugs than I am. I want to show you an insect that sings from on high.
Last. This is the grasshopper that's been flying around making that characteristic noise as it rubs its leg against its wings. Chinese scientists have told me that these insects have song flights just like little birds, and if you clap in time with them, if you match the rhythm of the noise that they're making, they think you're an intruder in their territory and drop down to the ground. But today it's too windy, so they can't do their song flights. They're just being blown away, which is why it's been so difficult to catch one. These grasshoppers don't have a common name.
The Latin name is Bryodema luctuosum.
If I gently fan out the wings and look, beautiful blue and black underwing. They use that to display to the females too. Chinese people have a special affection for grasshoppers and crickets.
They've been kept as pets in China for over 1,000 years and are still very popular today. Wide affection for these insects means that in every big town or city there's a section in the market that buzzes and chirps. Every summer, tens of thousands are brought from the countryside to the cities. Here, a new consignment are fed carrots to keep them in good condition. City dwellers love the songs of grasshoppers, and they're often kept in decorative ceramic pots designed to amplify their chirping. They're not so well liked in the rural grasslands. Grasshopper plagues can destroy vast areas of croplands and strip the vegetation to bare soil. Coming up! Are my eyes deceiving me? Is that a mirage? Or demoiselle cranes? I've journeyed across the grasslands of Inner Mongolia in search of a spectacular bird, the demoiselle crane. I finally found what I'm looking for. And it's not just one of them, there's a whole flock. Look, this isn't a mirage. These are the creatures I've been hoping to see throughout my journey in Inner Mongolia, demoiselle cranes. They're beautiful birds, but this is such a vicious heat wobble. It's difficult to see them in detail. I've got to get closer. On my journey across Inner Mongolia, this is the real icing on the cake. There's a couple of hundred demoiselle cranes just ahead of me, and I'm close enough now to see all of the detail. These cranes pair for life, and their bond is strengthened by dancing and duets.
Demoiselles are the smallest species of crane in the world, only kind with this beautiful plume of white feathers on the head. This is stupendous. I'm so close I can see the colour of their eyes. The males have bright red ones, the females are brown. Now we've got these cracking views, I'll tell you why I was so keen on seeing these beautiful birds.
There's 15 species of crane in the world. Until today, I'd seen 14 of them. The demoiselle crane completes the set.
There's a whole mix of birds here. Ruddy shelduck add a splash of colour, bright orange in amongst the cranes.
Curlew sandpiper in front of me too. Still in breeding plumage. Brick red feathers. They're on their way back to Australia after nesting in the Arctic.
European shelduck too.
In this species, the duck and the drake have the same colour pattern.
There's a little family party there.
They're sieving water and mud through their fringed bills for snails and other small animals.
The ducklings running after mum and dad.
Wow, this is a big family. Shelduck can have up to 12 babies in a brood.
The ducklings look so tiny running past the crane's legs. There's another big flock coming into land. Beautiful. Demoiselle cranes breed on the grasslands, but they're never far from water. They have to drink every day.
These birds gather in groups of 400 or so before their southward migration to wintering grounds in India.
What a stunning end to my journey across Inner Mongolia.
Next time, I'm off to explore the remarkable high-altitude grasslands of the Tibetan Plateau. They're home to some real high flyers, bar-headed geese, and massive wild yak too.
This is such a surprise. A very rare animal indeed.
There's pocket-sized cousins of hares, pikas, and their predators, the strange Tibetan fox. There's Kiang too, the world's most handsome wild ass.
This is amazing. It's like being on the African plains.
I'll see you soon for more adventures in untamed China.